Hello, drunkies. Welcome to another epi of Drunk Amazon Purchases. Wanted to start out today with my Tesla feature of the day. So right now, instead of being stationary in the office, the podcast office, we are now in autopilot. So I'm riding down 196 in autopilot right now, kind of enjoying the ride. It's a nice night. It's the tail end of rush hour. So there's quite a few cars out still, but we're just cruising along. And so want to kind of show you this here. I'll kind of give you a quick tour. Behind a big ass truck here. Doesn't matter because it's driving on its own. We zoom out a little bit. See, there's one foot, there's the other foot. You can't quite see down to the pedals there, but just chilling. There's a little dash, shows us driving. Shows my energy usage to the right, my sick beats to the left. And yeah, so that kind of what it looks like here when I'm autopiloting. This little stick right here below my blinker, you just tap that twice and it puts you right in autopilot. So what happens is autopilot's kind of fun because you get to drive or really just ride. It makes the trip so much more fun, more than you think. I use it in town, on the highway. It's supposed to be designed just for highway use, but I use it on pretty much everywhere, as much as I can, just because it's so easy and enjoyable. The best thing is rush hour. Like if it's back-to-back rush hour, you don't have to go brake to accelerator, brake to accelerator. You can just put it on autopilot, play on your phone, and then you're out of the traffic jam whenever the traffic jam's over, which who the fuck cares, because you're just on your phone learning Spanish or on Instagram. One of the two. Really boils down to those two options to do on your phone. So autopilot will go on ramp to exit on the highway all by itself. You'll use your navigation. You turn on navigation where you're going, turn on autopilot, and then it will change lanes back and forth to be most efficient. It'll it'll stay behind the car in front of you. You can choose how many car lengths, how close you want to get to the car in front of you, and then you just pick your top speed. So it'll go obviously as slow as it needs to. If there's any cars in front of you, if there's nobody in front of you, it'll stay at your top speed. Helps you save on a lot of tickets. I've noticed in town, particularly if I'm on a straightaway in town, I'll use it, and I get a lot less traffic tickets. So a quick shout out to my drunkie, Josh B. Word. So Josh B. Word and I were riding down to Chicago with our ladies, and there's a little feature on the autopilot that makes you every about 45 seconds to a minute, makes you check in on the steering wheel. So doesn't want you to fall asleep, doesn't want you to not pay attention, wants you to be available. So you have to grab the steering wheel and just let you know, tell the Tesla that you're there. You can push any feature on the steering wheel. You can hit a blinker, you can hit the menu button, volume, and then it'll say, okay, you're good. And then another 45 seconds to a minute later, it'll make you check in just to make sure you're not sleeping. If you are sleeping, it'll actually beep at you, and if you don't respond, it'll slowly pull the car over to the side of the road, park the car, and put on flashers, because it assumes you're sleeping and it wants you to be safe while you're riding in autopilot. But when you're going long distances, let's say longer than 3 minutes, it gets really annoying to keep tapping something on the steering wheel to let it know you're there. You'd rather just keep fucking driving, and then you can go on in and enjoy whatever the hell you were enjoying while you're in the car. So Josh B. Word mentioned something to the effect of, man, if you just built a little robot to touch the menu button every 30 seconds, you wouldn't have to pay attention to it, and you could just keep riding in autopilot. So what I did is I took that to heart. And so Mallory and I went out on a road trip to Nebraska to visit some family, and it was a long trip, and I got really tired of touching the steering wheel. I mean, you can probably relate. Touching the steering wheel is effing annoying when you're trying to drive. So we were in Iowa and went to this truck stop and found a little Iowa lanyard, Iowa University, or University of Iowa lanyard, and about, you know, maybe 6 inches long, had a little hook on the end, and then I bought some D batteries. So it was like a 2-pack of D batteries. I put the lanyard on the steering wheel, looped it through, hooked it to the batteries, so then the steering wheel felt like it had a hand on it, resting on it, and so that allowed the car to think that I'm touching the steering wheel, and I don't have to drive anymore. We can go back to watching our Netflix and YouTube videos and all the stuff that you really enjoy to do in a car, rather than actual touching the steering wheel. So that was first generation. Second generation, I created some sort of a magnet contraption that I tied to the steering wheel. So I tied a little magnet to the steering wheel, and then I connected a metal piece to the magnet, and that allowed for me to turn the steering wheel, because with the dangling batteries, I couldn't actually turn the steering wheel. I'd have to keep it straight on the highway. When I get to in town and I've got to turn the steering wheel, I had to take the magnets off, and so that was quite annoying. So when I fastened a magnet to the steering wheel, connected some metal to it, created the same weight, but I could turn the steering wheel and function the whole time. So that was generation 2. We're on to generation 3. So I bought a heavier magnet, and I wrapped it in leather so it matches the steering wheel. So there's I bought some Velcro off of Amazon. I bought this magnet off of Amazon, and so you can kind of see there's a little magnet inside of there. Bought all this off of Amazon, created a little Velcro cover for the magnet, but I realized by accident that the steering wheel has metal inside of it. So I can just stick it to the steering wheel without having to fasten a contraption to hold the metal or the magnet. So it's really seamless. You can't barely tell it's there, and it just sticks to the steering wheel, and it works 80% well. I still have to check in once in a while, but it's a lot less, which is good. And so that's worked extremely well here on that note. But I'm on to generation 4, and I've got an idea that I'm going to make, and so I'll update you here in the future with generation 4. So I want to show you my Amazon purchases. So the first one here was the magnet and the Velcro and the leather. We're going to go on in and show you these head covers. So I bought these animal head covers for my golf clubs on Amazon. Here's a little deer. We've got a little duck here. I've got a good boy, Rottweiler. He's such a good boy. And then I've got Bruce the Moose. So these are all, and obviously Bruce the Moose goes on my driver because that is the moose. So these head covers were kind of fun. I was looking at them, and we were playing an indoor simulator golf this winter, and with my buddy Matt L-Word and Amber P-Word, and I was just going through, I love animals, so I was going looking through all the animals, and it just ended up, I have a zoo now on the top of my golf bag. But, so we recently used them for the first time, or I used them for the first time. Matt L-Word and Amber P-Word and Mallory C-Word, all 4 of us went out to St. Petersburg, Florida, had a little golf trip. It's kind of cold here, there's some snow on the road. Autopilot seems to be working fine with snow. But we all went out to St. Pete, had a great time, played some golf, enjoyed some warm weather, tried out my brand new head covers, and brought my little zoo of animals around with me on the golf course. So we had a great time. One of the things that happened is the sad story of Kobe Bryant passing away in his helicopter. We were on the golf course in St. Pete when our phones just started blowing up with all this, so I want to shout out to my drunkie Kobe. We were really tight, hung out quite a lot, but it's a really sad story. I mean, we're all kind of bonded to Kobe, and it was kind of peculiar that everybody was kind of so distraught over Kobe passing away, and I kind of thought about it, and a lot of people die. We don't give this much attention to a lot of people, but Kobe's one of those unique scenarios where we actually, through television, through the media, lived his whole teenage to adult life, the entire thing. with him while he was playing basketball, because he, made it to the NBA at 18 years old. And so we've known Kobe through the media vicariously, basically his whole adult life. And so we've developed a bond with that, and it's real, makes it question our own mortality. And it's a tough thing, and it's sad that there was young people involved, his daughter and as well. So shout out to Kobe there. I also want to talk about some golfing. So we went out, we golfed. We tried to do golf now and just, golf on a whim, free schedule, free wheeling, more affordable. But we ran into some tee time problems. Apparently people in Florida have nothing to fucking do. Most of them are retired. So we made it tee time, but turns out they're too busy to have us go off on our tee time. Almost 50% of the time we actually went to go golf. So what happened is we were able to play a lot less golf than we intended. Still a great time. So one of the times, the first round, we just said, fuck it, we'll go putt-putt golfing. You can get drunk and sloppy and have a great time putt-putt golfing. So we went to this place on the coast in St. Petersburg, and where you could actually feed some fucking alligators. So they have like little fishing poles and little like clips on the end of the pole. You put little alligator food on there that you buy for a medium price, and then you feed it to alligators. It's actually pretty fun. A lot more fun than I anticipated. Glad we did it. The girls got a little silly. As you can know, that ends well for the boys at the end of the night, so we were all for that. But that was a great time. And then, so we went to this sick-ass restaurant, and it's called Burns, like Bernie's. And so this restaurant was a steakhouse. It was a very fancy steakhouse, but they allowed a lot of different attire. You could wear jeans, you could wear a t-shirt. They weren't too picky about all that. That light's a little bit better. So, but they were really expensive, but kind of affordable. It was a weird combination. It was good. But what happens is it was the most unique experience of a restaurant probably that I've had. So when we went to Burns, we had a 9 o'clock reservation that we had to get a month in advance. We had a tip. Matt Elward had a tip from a contact of his. So we booked it a month in advance, and it did not disappoint. So you have a reservation to the restaurant, then you have a reservation to a separate floor in the top of the building called the dessert room, which was kind of sick. I thought that was really fun. You get to your restaurant, and you go to your reservation, they ask you if you want to keep your reservation to the dessert room as well. And so then you say yes. So then you have these wonderful steaks. All the meat is 30 to 50 days dry aged. Phenomenal meat, phenomenal cuts. And then they give you a tour of the kitchen. They give you a tour of the wine cellar. The wine cellar is the biggest wine cellar owned by a single person in the world. $10 million plus of inventory. We got to see the cellar on site, and then there was another cellar across the street, more of a warehouse to store most of the wine. They stocked all of the daily wine needed in the on-site wine cellar right in the restaurant. Then you go up to the dessert room. Dessert room, all the booths. It's the dessert room floor is bigger than, they have several dining rooms for dinner. It's bigger than all the dining rooms combined up on the dessert floor. So all of the booths are made out of wine barrels and shaped like wine barrels, and they have like glass windows. So it's like a wall and then a booth. So you have like a door on either side of the wall, and it is like when you're inside your booth, you feel like you're the only one in the room. And then it's a maze when you try to walk around the room to find the bathroom for 15 or 20 minutes or so, give or take. But it's a phenomenal experience. So my dad calls me, and he says, hey, Curtis, I happen to be going down to St. Petersburg in a week, and we just gotten back. And he's like, he always likes to find like the best restaurants and the fun stuff. So he said, do you know did you have any good restaurant experiences? So I told him everything about Burns Steakhouse. It was sick. I mean, we were even considering maybe not going to Burns because it was late. We were tired. We had golfed. And then Mallory and I went out and met some friends out in St. Petersburg. They happened to be there at the same time. Anna K-Word and some friends from Michigan, ironically. And we met them, and they asked casually, with some locals. She had some locals there, too, that are friends of hers. They asked casually, where are you going for dinner? We told them Burns. The whole table stopped. So they're like, can't believe you're going there. That's amazing. So we had to keep the reservation. We decided to keep it and push through it. So glad we did. So I told my dad all this and how amazing it was and this stuff. As soon as I get done telling him, he goes, so do you know any other restaurants? Or are there any other restaurants you went to that are good? Almost as if to dismiss what I told him was about the coolest restaurant experience I've ever had in my life. I was like, yeah, Dad, they also have Taco Bell, if that's what you're interested in. So anyway, I'm going to start heading back to the house, because what I'd like to do is I'd like to have a cocktail. I don't condone drinking and driving, even though I'm technically riding. So I'm gonna see here in just a minute, and then we'll finish up here with the rest of drunk Amazon purchases. MP3, boys. Okay, we're back here from Autopilot, and had a great little trip. I had to park it back in the garage because needed to start on a cocktail, and you know, I just don't promote drinking and driving, and many people have asked me, well, if you're in Autopilot in a Tesla and you're just riding and the car's driving and you're having a beverage, are you really drinking and driving, or are you breaking the law? And you know, that's really not for me to make that call. That might be for you to decide. If, you know, you take a trip out to Nebraska in the Tesla and you open a 6-pack, you know, on the way out there. I mean, that's for you to decide. If, you know, you're on your way to work and, you know, you drop a little rum chata in your coffee and, you know, sip on your coffee mug on the way to work. I mean, that's kind of for you to decide. If, you know, you want to rip a few shots of rye whiskey on the way out to the bar to pregame a little bit. I mean, that's really just for you to decide. If you want to go on in and have some mulled wine on a nice fall drive, watching the color changes for the leaves in the fall. I mean, that's really just for you to decide. If it's a really cold winter day and you have just a little bit of hot rum and some apple cider in a mug. I mean, those are, you know, it's just really for you to decide if drinking and riding is okay or not. But yeah, so I wanted to let you know we're gonna have a special guest. We're actually gonna have a couple special guests next week. We're gonna have a drunkie on, another drunkie on, and it's a mystery, but you'll see who it is. And then we are gonna have one of my favorite pals, Johan. He's my Brittany Spaniel. I've got 2 Brittany Spaniels, Lita and Johan. Johan's going to come on in. He actually wanted to do a little singing number for the episode. So I told him he could do that. And a little shout out to Olivia G Word. She makes these cool little dog bandanas, and they're really kind of sweet. So what we didn't realize when we ordered them from her is they actually snap around the collar of the dog. So you don't have to worry about tying it to the dog's neck. You don't have to worry about, you know, untying it if you're knotting it up. Stays on really well, and it comes on and off really easy. So shout out there. Those are pretty sweet. Hit me up if you guys want to get one, order one from Olivia. They're pretty awesome. They're better than I thought they would be. I thought there was going to be some cool, stylish bandanas, but they're actually quite functional as well. So I wanted to quick give you an update. So last week I talked about eating shit from Canada, or food from Canada, and one of the things was the butter tart that I hadn't gotten a chance to eat. So I ordered it on Amazon after I had a couple Canadian drinks, and I really enjoyed it. So it's basically like a little bowl of dough. It's kind of similar to like a sugar cookie texture without such a sweet flavor to it. The dough is, but then inside there's a bunch of butter. I mean, it's a little filling mixed with butter, eggs, and sugar. Quite rich, but I found it very delicious. Kind of a dark flavor, great with coffee. I ate a lot of them. And then we happened to have them during the Super Bowl. So, a lot of people enjoyed them as well there. So this is the last week I'll be recording on a phone. I did get a GoPro Hero 8 off of Amazon, and a mic and a nice little setup. Thanks to Kyle S. Word. giving me the research on which cameras are the best options to buy. So purchased that drunk on Amazon. And what I'm looking to do now is I like to have a little bit of fun. I've bought a lot of shit on Amazon. A lot of shit. So what I'm looking to do is I want to buy weird stuff on Amazon. So if you have any suggestions on shit that I should buy on Amazon, send me through. I'm kind of looking for more of a challenge if you can buy it on Amazon, or if you could buy something on Amazon that you normally wouldn't think and actually make it functional and a good deal, or maybe it's just a big fucking mess. But I'm just kind of curious to see what kind of ideas you might have. I've got some of my own that I'm going to use as well, but let me know if we can kind of find a unique thing to try and see if we can purchase on Amazon, big or small. So, and then also send. So what we want to do is, in order to get more of these ideas and kind of responses as well, see if we could send this podcast to a few friends. If you want to get the updates, I'm trying to do this every week, but I have I'm busy autopiloting around, so I can't always be recording. So I try to get an episode out every week, but it's becoming more like every 2 weeks. But if you get some ideas, if you want actually to get notified when it does come out, apparently if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, they'll send they'll let you know when I'm premiering my next episode, so you can kind of see it. You don't have to kind of keep searching for it. It'll inform you. And then send it to some friends, so then we can get some more ideas and some good conversation and comments on what the hell we should buy, and not only that, what to do with them once we get some fun shit. So send me on that, and I'm gonna sign off here pretty shortly, boys. But just remember, when you are searching for stuff to buy online, particularly Amazon, just remember, we don't Amazon sober. All right? Well, thanks a bunch, drunkies, and we'll sign off for now, but we'll see you next week with a new epi with some special guests.